Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. Today, we are going to be talking about something Red Eagle Politics did a video about today in regards to Michigan, and I found it interesting. Okay, I'm going to do a video on it mainly for a follow up because he has made a good point. There's something going on in Michigan. He is potentially saying this state is potentially in the roles of becoming a red state, a solidified red state. And although we could make that happen overall, I think there is a little bit more that needs to be added into what his video originally was saying. So, obviously, Michigan governor's race in 2026, big opportunity, okay? And I don't want to talk about 2026. It's early. I want to talk about 2025 because we have two important governor's races in New Jersey and Virginia that honestly I want to see being won by the GOP. I want to keep Virginia, at least Virginia, and probably put New Jersey up to contest. I think it's absolutely possible that we can do it. But honestly, there is opportunity in 2 years ahead, and specifically in Michigan, a state that really, I don't think Republicans have very little. I mean, we've won this state a couple times, going back 2018, 2014. You'll see Rick Snyder. He won this state. Carried it. He carried it decisively with a 58.11% margin against Berg Bernario in 2010. It's been going off and on. There's some sort of pattern going on there, and I think it's very possible that we could do the same thing, where we could take back the governor's mansion in Michigan. It is, of course, a swing state. It's proven itself to be more compatible than Wisconsin. So the question is, who's up for grabs? So obviously, the Michigan gubernatorial election, we got our page. Here are the potential contested primary. You got Jocelyn Benson. She seems to be the most realistic candidate. You'll see she's obviously the best Democrat out of this big thick list here. When you're looking at it, Secretary of State, she has an electoral record. We'll go over that a little bit. Pete Buttigieg would be the best case scenario for Republicans. I do not see him winning. Obviously, he could win the Democratic primary if he, of course, his name recognition and being a part of the Biden administration, that really plays a role. But obviously, Jocelyn Benson is popular amongst the state. I would like to see how that turns out. There's also Mallory McMorrow. She is the Michigan Senate Majority Whip and state senator. I could see us beating her too. And of course, there's Chris Swanson. Doesn't stand a chance, in my opinion. Genesee County Sheriff. We would definitely defeat him in this election if he was nominated for some reason. But what I'm saying is Jocelyn Benson in this case would probably be the nominee out of all of them. Republicans, we got a list here. We got Mike Cox. He was the former Michigan Attorney General and the candidate for governor in 2010. He did. He was defeated by Snyder in the primaries. Cox is in yellow here, gold. Yes, you'll see he struggled. Maybe he can. Yeah, he's the former Attorney General. You think he would do good, right? Yes, 52nd Attorney General. He has experience, obviously. And maybe campaigning on a law and order platform would really help him in areas like Michigan, of course, Detroit. Yeah, you'll see close results, but he carried Oakland County once. Do you think he'll make improvements there? People remember him there? Sure. He carried Kent County by 60%. Macomb County, decently, I'm sure. it was more these rural areas, and I don't doubt in my mind that these areas would probably go for him at this point. But is he? Yeah, he defeated Gary Peters, the future senator, in that race. 2006, reelected by a much wider margin. Actually, he solidified his lead in these said rural areas. Even in Oakland County. Yeah, I think overall he could be a good candidate. I hope people didn't forget about him because it can happen, like they did with Tommy Thompson. People forgot about him. He came around in 2018, 2016. I don't know what it is. 2012, I want to think, after being the governor of Wisconsin during the 90s. He's back again in 2012. Okay, people totally forgot about him, and they elected Tammy Baldwin, who was a totally new face in Wisconsin. I find that very ironic, but I'm hoping that does not happen in this time around. But this is, of course, there's also the Tudor Dixon. Please don't run. Please, you don't need to run again. Okay, you were a disaster from the beginning, and probably it was because of experience. You are a conservative media personality and nominee for governor. I agree with her, but she needs to fill out more of her resume. She needs to add more to her resume, because her campaign in 2022, I don't think she can get out of that. I absolutely think she lost Macomb County. If you lose Macomb County, I think you're done. But yeah, there's also the state senator. That's Jonathan Lindsay, of course, and there's Eric Nesbitt, another Michigan senator. But yes, I think Cox has the best opportunity out of all of them. Versus Benson. So far this race looks like a Benson versus Cox, and we can even do our first prediction. It's so early. It's 2 years. It's not like we did the presidential race 4 years, but we can do an early look at what the governor's race in Michigan could look like. So obviously, I think Benson would win. And we need to go over her because she's going to be a problem. Benson versus Cox. And we got to also discuss the independent, who is also, you also got Mike Duggan. And Mike Duggan, he's been, Red Eagle, he has talked about Mike Duggan, former mayor of Detroit, 2014. Is he, I want to believe, still the mayor. Is he still the mayor of Detroit? I mean, Mike Duggan, he's sort of, he's tough on crime. He's running as an independent. He's a Democrat, but tough on crime. And you'd think, he's going to help split and make it easier for Cox to win. Well, sure, you could say that is the case. But, I would say, in other words, if Mike Duggan goes too tough on crime, he's going to take away supporters from Cox. And I can definitely see that happen. So something to worry. Yeah, the Red Eagle Politics says this is a great opportunity if he campaigns. Yeah, it helps when he's the current mayor of Michigan. People haven't forgot about him. He has something to campaign on. But in order to keep taking, of course, Benson votes, he needs to stay on a left-wing platform. And honestly, it's going to be kind of hard. Sure, Jocelyn Benson's kind of hard enough to beat. Okay, Jocelyn Benson, we got to understand who this lady is. She is a juggernaut in the state of Michigan. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but she has won recent records. She was defeated once by Ruth Johnson, but she defeated, I don't think she defeated him, but that was Secretary of State. 2018, take a look, a couple of years. Yes, Jocelyn finally got her bench there, 52 to 49 You'll see solidified her role there in 2018. You got the turnout in Wayne and, of course, Washtenaw, whatever that county is called, that's all the way up to the 70%. That's benefiting her. 2022, even better performance. Turnout's high. She expands across the rural countryside. And you would say, oh, this is because of Roe v. Wade. Oh, this is because of Democrat turnout. This is the blue wave in Michigan. You could go ahead and make that said, of course, argument. It says the race for Secretary of State in 2022 received national attention over its potential impact on how the state would oversee the 2024 presidential election. I will say, you know what? This wasn't because of immigration. This wasn't because of the economy. This was because of abortion. This is really a race where abortion was really an impact there. You'll see it had an abortion measure there also. They could probably vote for Jocelyn Benson as a reward for getting that abortion measure on the ballot. Otherwise, they could go ahead and basically turn around and kind of walk behind there. But with the said, actually ditching the Jocelyn Benson vote, but I think they would have voted for her regardless. So overall, in a perspective, I do think that the Michigan race is pretty much a pretty indecisive, unclear, especially with Jocelyn Benson. Sure, you can only hope that maybe it was just the pro-abortion stances, the pro-abortion charge of the midterms of 2022 that really helped Jocelyn Benson and her Secretary of State race. Hoping that it's not an Andy Beshear sort of candidate. But going back to 2018, she did sort of well too. Maybe it was because of the low turnout of 2018. Or it was just because of the anti-Trump fuel that fueled 2018. So you got some reasons of why Jocelyn Benson overperformed the usual Michigan performance of the said years. But overall, I would go ahead and say, yeah, and overall, Kristina Karamo has been a bad candidate. She's been painted as a far-right extremist for like the whole entire the Michigan media establishment. Same deal. And just put her in a governor's race. But the thing is, she's well respected among Michiganders, and that concerns me. That's why I'm having her win as of right now. Unless we actually get polls coming out. That is basically pointing out, of course, basically pointing out a different scenario. And good news for Mike Duggan. He has, and not just Mike Duggan, it's good news for Republicans. He's sort of getting momentum. He's got the first endorsement just barely. Like, he entered this race. William Clay Ford Jr., executive chair of the Ford Motor Company. He endorsed Mike Duggan. And that's good news because it's showing that his campaign's building up steam, and we want that. But what we don't want is him to take away conservative votes. That's why we want law and order candidates. But in terms of winning, we want Mike Duggan to kind of ease it down, kind of run on not of a law and order candidate. Because if he runs on a law and order campaign, guess what's going to happen, guys? He's going to start taking moderate Republicans. He could take Trump votes, too. If he runs like John Fetterman, he runs like Josh Stein, guess what's going to happen? He's taking away votes from the Republican. And we know Mike Duggan's not going to win, but then again, it's going to make it worse and quirky. And yeah, it's just, if he makes it too Trumpian or too, like, classical Democrat, classical liberal, it's going to hurt Republicans. So that's why I'm not upbeat with the Mike Duggan. I'm skeptical. I am critical. I am alert. I am aware, unless we see actual internal polls coming out, seeing what the race actually looks like, I'm saying, hey, you know what? It's anyone's game. I'm essentially excluding Mike Duggan at this point. I don't know what way it's going to go. Is he taking mainly conservative votes, where he's going to campaign mainly on our conservative law and order platform, or he's going to go more liberal, focus on abortion, in which that would be beneficiary to Republicans, or is he going to be like, of course, taking votes from everyone, and it's just an awkward race from there? I don't know. I honestly do not know how this is going to go. I'm not accusing Red Eagle Politics of thinking, he's just going to take away from Democrat votes only because he's a Democrat. No, I think Red Eagle Politics, he's way smart. Very smart, and honestly, he has proved me wrong in many of my theories in this set, and my arguments in this set election cycle. I think definitely Red Eagle is up to something. But addressing my concerns that I feel Red Eagle Politics is not really addressing vocally enough in his video on Michigan. I'm kind of saying, hey, look, this is the possibility what can happen. It could backfire in terms of Mike Duggan taking votes that if he could magnify his platform despite being a Democrat, he could do it accidentally. I bet John Fetterman didn't want to run on a MAGA platform. But guess what? It turned into a MAGA platform in Pennsylvania. Josh Stein, beloved Attorney General there, it immediately turned into a MAGA platform. So it's just concerning. Not concerning, but just unsure how this is going to go. But I can tell you already, it's going to be a challenge regardless, because Jocelyn Benson, if Pete Buttigieg, again, is the nominee, we can be relaxed. But if Jocelyn Benson is the nominee, then, okay, it's time to up the game. Jocelyn Benson has an electoral history we cannot ignore it. We cannot. She may be a little bit weaker than Beshear. Yeah, she may be a little weaker than Beshear. But that doesn't mean we don't treat... Republicans need to nail on her. Harder. So what is my prediction looking like as of right now? A Cox versus Benson scenario. Well, if we can take a look at... Let's take out our two candidates, the Attorney General's race, and, of course, Jocelyn Benson's race in 2022. Comparing these two, this is the best performances that the Mike Cox and Jocelyn Benson had performed. You'll see. But then again, you got to remember 2006 was a long time ago. Demographics have changed decisively. I can tell you, Kent County's not going to Cox by 60%, even though he did win it by 60%. Not to mention, he's been in the shadows in Michigan for a very long time. So, do I think he could possibly win, Kent? I don't think he can. I think it's going in, especially if Benson's the nominee. I think she's going to have a chance of winning it. Muskogee, up for grabs? Sure. I will say yes. But yeah, I think definitely it's going to look for sure like 2020. For the presidential race. And can it look like the Senate race? Well, let's review terms of the Senate race. Yeah, we talked about the United States Senate election a couple videos ago, and we said, yeah, pretty unsure results. We weren't sure if there wasn't really a very tight race in Saginaw and Muskogee, the two bellwether counties in Michigan. We didn't know if Mike Rogers won that county, or those two counties, or Elisa Slotkin won that county. But what ended up happening? Let's actually go ahead and see. 2016, 2024 United States Senate race. Let's see how that race went. Okay. It looks like Slotkin won Saginaw. Let's take a look. Okay. We seriously do not... Did we take away the map already? You can't. Okay, they have the bar here. U.S. Senate. Let's go ahead. Michigan. Here we go. Okay, you see, they're so lopsided. Saginaw is projected to go to Mike Rogers, while we have the county of Muskogee projected to go to Lisa Slotkin. They have not fixed this. It's been a week. Ridiculous. This is mainly Wikipedia to blame. I don't know if Wikipedia is true, to be honest. Being truthful. I don't know. So, in essence, I would say Benson would have the upper hand. I mean, she is the more familiar face in these two counties going forward there. There's also this county right here that has been proved to be compatible in recent elections. And that's in the 2020 United States Senator election. It's not, I mean, when this race occurs, it will be 6 years since 2020. Kind of crazy to think about, right? But you'll see this race, Gary Peters, he's up for re-election 2026. I think he would lose that county. But just consider that county could very well possibly go for Benson instead, you'll see. Although that county has shifted more to the right in a couple years, you'll see. Okay, let's take a look at Eaton County. Okay, Eaton, I think it has the possibility. It did. How much did it go to Trump by? You may ask. Well, let's take a look. Let's go ahead and take a look. Let's see. First off, the Senate election. We can even, while we're clicking at it, we can go ahead and see how Eaton County voted for Lisa Slotkin, which was a compatible race. But yeah, it was a tight race. Mike Rogers won that county by 0.2. Okay, so I think Benson definitely has an upper hand, seeing that technically she has more of a history than Slotkin. I mean, give Slotkin some credit. She is a congresswoman. You thought you'd have some sort of knowledge with that. Yeah, it's dead heat in Muskogee. You could basically say it's a tie. Grand Traverse, you could say, is, I would say Grand Traverse stays for, of course, I would say give Grand Traverse for Cox, but basically this is kind of my prediction. Muskogee, or like Macomb or Macomb. I think Macomb stays for Cox. But yeah, this is my prediction as of right now. First prediction ever. But what do you guys think? And when those polls start cranking in, when we start getting the nominees, I think starting 2025, we'll start having those polls coming in. And I'm sure we're not just going to start talking about New Jersey and Virginia. I think we're going to go on and talk about also the midterm elections going on when that gets closer, like during the fall and the winter. About a year from now, we'll start talking about midterms. We'll start rolling in the midterm predictions for the United States House of Representatives, United States Senate. United States Senate, great for Republicans this year. They're going to have a solid win. They honestly don't need the compatible states to win on, to believe it or not. They just need the solid states. They're solid Republican strongholds, and no way they're going to lose it. It's looking perfect for them. It's really the House that's up for grabs, and that's really possible for Democrats to win, honestly, seeing how Republicans have kind of lost some seats in the House of Representatives in that said race. It's concerning, and we don't want to downplay that. But ultimately, what do you guys think in regards to this said video? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.